Welcome in to Bears Weekly, powered by IGS Energy, a Chicago Bears network production. Bears Weekly is brought to you by Advocate Healthcare, Athletico Physical Therapy, CDW, Connie's Pizza, IGS Energy, and Miller Lite. Here are your hosts, Jeff Joniak, a.k.a. the Mayor of Bearsville, and his sidekick, Tom the Surfmaster Thayer.
Well, for the first time this season, Bears Weekly airing live in front of a great audience here at the PNC Studios at Halissaw. The fine folks from Magellan hosting some folks from NWR Active Duty. So thank you for your service, one and all. Good to have you here. I think you guys have been here before for this particular show. We're thrilled to have you here tonight with Super Bowl winning Bears guard, my broadcast partner for 28 years, Mr. Tom Thayer, the Chicago Bears star, and now a double career with the Bears. So good to see you, Tommy. And our special guest joining us after, what felt like 6 months of travel. We're back home for 3 straight home games. Veteran safety, Kevin Byard. Kevin, how you doing?
I'm doing well. I'm doing excellent.
Thanks for joining us. Our producers are Dan Barilli over there, Paul Zarang, our engineer as well, and in our ESPN studio, spending the Downs tonight, Kendra Smith. The executive producer of the Bears Radio Network is Eric Ostrowski, and thank you all once again. Kevin, thanks for joining us, and how you feeling, first of all? What's going on?
I'm feeling good. It's been a long Thursday. Obviously starting very early meetings and practice and things like that, and obviously a lot of recovery, but feels great.
Yeah, you guys are in at 7:30, right? Got to be in by 7:30?
Well, I'm in a little bit earlier, but I've been here since like 7 a.m., but, it's all in the day's work.
I was just talking to Roma Dunze yesterday, and the difference from, you had class in college, but,
right.
This is when it's a job.
Oh,
like,
100%.
you got to be in by 7:30. A lot of players show up early, but then you're not getting out of here till, it's 6:30 right now. So this is a full-time job.
Kevin, my birthday is August 16th. Yours is
we
August
go.
17th.
Oh, that's awesome.
So I never pay attention to horoscopes or anything. So just by chance, I looked up Leo today and what the horoscope. And it said, been through some frustrating times. Good things are on the horizon. So
that's a great horoscope.
I know, it is, isn't it? And do you fit the Leo profile?
I think so. I'm not as big into horoscopes either, but at times, I have a family relative that sends me horoscopes a lot of times. And more often than not, they usually match up. So
I think Tom's going to be sending you horoscopes.
No, I'm not.
It's news to me today.
Listen, when I was reading about you today and I saw that your birthday is August 17th, and I was saying, well, we got that in common. And someone once gave me a book about Leos. And so I read the first couple chapters, and I didn't read any more because it just talked about how self-centered we are and but it's kind of the life of a professional athlete. It's not necessarily you're self-centered in a way that you don't combine your family and everything else in it. It's what you have to go through, and like you said, some guys get here at 7:30, but you get here a little bit earlier. That's part of it.
Yeah, I would definitely say, just being a professional athlete in my time in the NFL, you definitely have to structure your life and your lifestyle. And even with my family, obviously I'm married, I have 3 children, but my wife understands that when it's the season, things are kind of structured around my schedule and things like that, whether if we're traveling, my work schedule and things like that. She's always checking in when there's things that we have to do with the children. Hey, what's your schedule like this week and things like that. But also in the off season as well. My training schedule during the off season, where I have to train and things like that, it is structured based upon my job and my career, which does well for our family. But I definitely feel like when it's time for me to retire and things like that, I'm going to have to change that up for sure.
Well, let me just say this, because and this goes for all walks of life, and Tom, you definitely have been this way as a football player and as a broadcaster. If you want to be great at what you do and you want to rise to a certain level, you have to be a little bit selfish.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, family members and friends, and sometimes they don't understand that. And that happens in my side of this career as well. And Tom, I'm sure you have, because you can't go to everything. You can't be there every time for every event or your kid stuff. So being selfish is part of being professional a little bit.
No, and actually I've gotten a lot better. My kids, they do karate, taekwondo. So I make it an effort on Wednesdays. I kind of end my recovery stuff at the end of meetings just so I can make sure I'm there at Taekwondo. They do the karate, and they love it, and obviously they love seeing me there. So, but just like you said, even off season, like you don't take as many trips to go see family because you're either training or you have the spring workouts and things like that. So I have missed a lot of family time, but my family understands for sure.
Has taking care of your body changed since early part of your career when you were invincible, you're a young guy, you could do anything at any time, but over the process and you kind of learn more about taking care of your body, has things changed a lot for you?
I wouldn't say they changed a lot, but every offseason I try to add more and more to what I already do. You know, before when you were young, all you knew was just like cold tubs and stuff like that. You just get in the cold tub, that's it. But it's a lot more things that I do now, whether if it's doing Pilates in the off season or off days. I do like red light therapy. I don't know if you guys know about red light therapy.
Red light?
Yeah, it's like
I'm green light go, brother. That's it. No red light. No, I don't know.
It's like a whole scientific
like an infrared type of thing.
Pretty much, it is infrared. Like, you know, I know people heard of infrared saunas, but it's like instead of outside the saunas, it's like straight red light therapy. I do saunas.
So what does what do they say the red light does, and is it working for you? Do you know what it's doing to you?
No, yes, it works a lot. Honestly, it's supposedly, well, not supposedly, but it actually heals your body on a cellular level. You know what I'm saying? Like versus if you're just doing cold tubs, it kind of it's supposed to be a faster recovery, but it's supposed to be more of a deeper recovery because, like I said, it heals the body from a cellular level. So it is one of those things where, like, it can't hurt to try it. You know what I mean? So I started to try it, and it actually has me feeling good, so I continue to do it.
What's the craziest thing, Tom, you ever tried? I mean, I know you are a weight room guy, so that's as old school as you can get, but anything that you ever tried recovery-wise that you said, I'm going to give it a try, but it turned out to be placebo, or it just didn't do anything.
The acupuncture. I hurt my shoulder one time, and I tried acupuncture. And they, put all these needles in my shoulder, and then they put this heat lamp over the top of it, and then you sit there for a period of time. And
did it work?
I kept falling asleep. And it was so comfortable that, that was the most, outside the box type of thing I tried. I was kind of like, more superstitious about everything's working. Just leave me alone. I'll get through it.
Yeah. So, which leads me, it's a fair question to ask every professional athlete. Are you superstitious about anything during your prep, during the course of the week, or on game day?
I'm not that superstitious. There are things I try to be very routine based and try to do week in and week out. But I'm not like, if I don't wear my lucky draws to the game, like it's not going to be a good game. Like I know guys who are like that, but that's just not me.
Yeah, we had remember Adewale Ogunleye?
Yeah,
Adewale Ogunleye, Bears fans. He had to take 2 showers before kickoff. So he'd go out there, shower, go out there again, take another shower. Otherwise, he couldn't play.
Yeah. See,
there's stuff like that you find over the course of time, or getting spatted up. Right, somebody's got to do. Did you have the same ankle taper your whole career?
Yes, Freddie Cato was a guy that taped my ankles. But are you a routine guy in terms of when you get to the stadium? Because I was a super early get to the stadium. And I always say
what do you mean was?
How super early?
I never took a team bus to a game in my entire career.
Okay.
And I would take a cab well before the first bus left. And I would get into the stadium, and it was just kind of a routine that I needed to be relaxed.
Right.
I needed to take my time. If I wanted to get taped and then sit around for 10 minutes.
Okay.
And then get my shoes on, then get spatted over.
Tell them your Super Bowl story.
Do you get taped?
Yes, I get taped. Getting to the game in a cab is crazy. That's
he did it for Super Bowl Sunday in 1986.
You took a cab to the Super Bowl?
Because they didn't have the security around the stadium that they have now. So
that might be an issue nowadays.
Right. It would be. So after our meeting, I was ready to go, and so I took a cab. And the cab drove me right up to the back door of the New Orleans Superdome, and I got out and I got into the stadium, and the stadium lights weren't on yet.
And what time
stuff.
was this?
I don't know. If we had 5:30 kickoff, I probably got there at 11:30.
Oh, that's way too early.
I know.
Wow.
It's kind of it was just an obsession. It was just I felt more relaxed when I got there.
Kevin and the fans, you should understand, he still has that obsession. Yeah. So at a home game, he's at Soldier Field turning on the lights, and I'm not joking.
Really?
Yes.
I'm a 3 hour. I like to get there 3 hours before the game.
Right.
That's 6 hours. That's OD.
6. That's how he rolls. Hey, we got to take our first. Yes, it is. I'm telling you. Try being this man's partner for 30 years. It's crazy town. Crazy town. Let me tell you that right now.
Definitely going to be prepared for sure.
Yes. We're going to take our first break here on Bears Weekly on ESPN 1000 and the Bears Radio Network.
This is Bears Weekly with the voice of the Bears for 24 years, Jeff Joniak. on the Bears Radio Network.
Good to be here, everybody. We are brought to you by IGS Energy. Jeff and Tom and our special guest, Kevin Byard III, in front of a live audience here, Magellan and NWR active duty members from Great Lakes Naval Station. Is that correct? Yes. So thank you for being here, and glad you can make it out. Bears getting ready to play a home game against the New England Patriots. A quick injury report from today. It looks like Kyler Gordon is on his way back, Kevin, and that's big news because that London game, his first half plus, I know he had 7 tackles. He was flying all over the place, blitzing, upending guys. Yeah. Unfortunately, he got injured, but he's a demon at that nickel spot. How important is he?
Yeah, Kyler Gordon is one of the best slot corners in the league. I know he's still a young player, but he's definitely one of the best ones I've ever been around for sure. He's going to be a well-needed boost to our secondary. Yeah,
and Tom, we both appreciate what that guy brings to the table because, you know, you talk about tough defenses, and tough defenses have to have corners that want to tackle. Absolutely. And we've seen that over the course of our time, Tommy, going back to the Lovey era and this group of defenders. Tyreek Stevenson's physical, Kyler's physical, Jalen's physical when he needs to be, and certainly on the back end. The safeties are rock'em sock'em robots back there, hoping to get Jaquan back here.
Well, takeaways, not turnovers. That's how Lovey always used to refer to them. So since you've gotten here in the leadership role that you've taken on, it's a really young secondary. And with your years of service, you know, you have a lot of advice that you can give to these young guys, whether you're a corner or a safety or a nickel. Was it, I'm not saying easier, but was it easier to earn the leadership role when you're talking about your experience in comparison to some of the younger guys that you're playing with?
Yeah, I think it was easy. You know, I think my resume kind of speaks for itself. Right. You know, coming in as a Pro Bowl or All-Pro, it was very easy to earn the respect for those guys because they watched me play. But I didn't really try to come in and try to take over this group or nothing like that, being the leader. I just came in to be myself. These guys are young, but they played a lot of ball. Kyler's played a lot of ball. Jaquan played a lot of ball. Jalen's obviously a Pro Bowl, and Tyreek played a lot last year. So they actually kind of, when I came in, they kind of helped me learn the defense a little bit faster because, like I said, these guys have played a lot of ball. So, like I said, just came in to be myself and try to add on as much as I can to the secondary.
Did you have to learn a lot, or were you kind of familiar with defensive styling and calling because you've been involved in other types of systems, or did you have to kind of learn from the bottom up?
No, it was more just verbiage, the language and things like that. You know, like I said, I played a lot of different defenses. Even being last year when I was with Philly for half of the year, some of the things are similar. And then also try to add my little spice to things when it comes to like disguise and coverages and things like that. I think that's something that I try to bring here just from my experience.
You know, I will say, and when Jeff and I were broadcasting the Carolina game, Jaquan Brisker's interception last year, was it last year or 2 years ago in New England?
2 years.
2 years ago in New England. It was a great interception, one-handed. Your interception in all the years that I've been around the Bears, of any team that I was playing with here in broadcasting, it was the prettiest interception that I've seen. And
I appreciate that. Thank you.
So my question about it, are you a good receiver, or did you make a great catch at that important moment?
Well, I played receiver in high school.
Right.
So
Yeah,
I get what you're saying. But I was a receiver in high school. I had a lot of interceptions in college as well. So I really think I just made a really good catch. You know what I'm saying? Like, I was always good at tracking the ball. I think I get that from my offensive background. And, you know, when the ball's in the air, I think it's mine anyway. So
that's proven out. 19 interceptions in college, including 4 touchdowns and 318 tackles. You go from no interceptions as a rookie, getting your feet wet. I think you started 7 games that year, played the whole season. But then, bam, 8 in 2017. This man right here, folks, if you're not aware of it, the number 1 interceptor in the NFL since he arrived in 2016 with 29. Shares that honor with a couple of guys, Justin Simmons in Atlanta and Miami Xavier Howard. But I keep thinking about when I was early on in my career, and Mark Carrier, everybody remembers Mark Carrier playing safety, bam, 10 interceptions as a rookie. But it doesn't stay that way.
No, not at all.
But isn't it interesting how magnetic it is early on in your career sometimes in those interceptions, because they want to stay away from you too.
Yeah, exactly. And I think a lot of times it's more about catching the ones they throw to you too. You know, a lot of guys can have a lot of interceptions, but they drop a lot. You know, you're going to have a few opportunities to get interceptions every single year. But if you just catch the ones you throw to, you'll get 2 or 3 every year. There are going to be times where they can try to avoid you and things like that. But you just got to catch the ones they throw to you.
What's your favorite interception in your career, and the one you wish you didn't drop?
Favorite one in my career, It might have been in that year, too. I had caught 2 interceptions against Jacksonville. I think it was the last game of the season. And it actually got me to the lead to have 8 interceptions to tie the lead with Darius Slay that year. But the last interception I caught got us into the playoffs. So I think that was probably one of the top ones I could remember. One that I wish I didn't drop was a few years ago. I dropped the interception versus Drew Brees. And it was like when I was diving, try to catch the ball, try to scoop it. That's probably one of the ones I won't say I regret, but I wanted to get Drew Brees, and I didn't
One
get
last question on that front. Do you have the footballs that you've intercepted?
I have every single one.
Okay.
I have every turnover that I've gotten. I've keep all the
turnover.
footballs. Every single
That's
one.
That's awesome.
It's like in my attic at the house.
So they're not in cases or anything yet.
No, not yet. Some of them actually are deflated. I had them so long. I'm going to do something with them when I'm done playing.
Like make it a wall in your office.
I'm thinking about making like a pigskin leather chair or something like that. I'm gonna do something with it. I just haven't figured out what it's gonna be. But I'm gonna turn the footballs into something.
Yeah. So when I went to Devin Hester's house last year in Orlando, he's got a room that's probably the size of this studio of all the stuff he's ever had in his entire football playing life from back to his youth days. Wow. And it's a museum. And it takes you time to look. So he really appreciates. He had the mindset and the foresight to collect all this stuff and keep it.
Yeah,
a lot of guys probably don't.
I don't have everything, but I have a lot of stuff from high school and college, but I don't have everything. I have some stuff still at my mom's house in Georgia, too, as well.
I thought when Caleb threw his first touchdown pass to Roma Dunze, I thought that they should cut that football in half, and they should have 2 of the panels painted.
Right.
So the game balls that we get here, Tony Medlin, he takes them from you, he marks it, and then he gives them to you in due time. But I thought that, when you have 2 guys that have such a bright future for decades to come in the NFL, it would be nice if you kind of split that first
split
one
in
up.
half. I think by default, the first touchdown goes to the quarterback, but they have to figure out a way to give Rome a ball for his first touchdown. I don't know how they're going to make it work, but I think it was gracious that he gave it to Caleb. You know what I mean?
Oh, I mean, yeah, but the 2 panels each, get them painted up, get them,
exactly.
Put with the presentation that it looks like a football on the other side of it.
Try to get a perfect replica or something like that.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Did you guys get balls painted like this? Yeah. Have you kept yours?
I have they're at my brother's house.
Are there a lot
offensive linemen don't get a lot of game balls,
They usually get gifts from their running back or quarterback for keeping them, keeping them
Which
dry.
Reminds me, I've never asked him all these years. This is one question I've never asked. Did Walter Payton ever buy his offensive lineman gifts? Did Jim McMahon ever buy gifts? Whatever happened back in the day?
So Walter Payton bought all the offensive linemen these beautifully made shotguns, and they had inscribed when he broke the Jim Brown's rushing record.
Awesome. Wow.
And he presented to everybody. And some guys have used them, some guys have never taken them out of the case. So
where do you fall in that category?
I was not here yet. I was still in the. I played when I got drafted by the Bears in '83. I played in the USFL for 3 years, and then I came and played in the NFL after that. So I wasn't part of the gift giving portion.
Yeah, I wish you would have got your hands on one of those. It's probably worth some good money nowadays.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it is. All right, we're going to take another break here with Kevin Byard III, Bears starting safety, as we get ready to play the New England Patriots. We'll talk about that matchup and more here from PNC Studios at Halisaw. This is Bears Weekly on ESPN 1000 of the Bears Radio Network.
Welcome back to Bears Weekly on the Bears Radio Network. Here's your host, the voice of the Bears, Jeff Joniak.
Calling all Bears fans, want unforgettable access to see the Chicago Bears play at Soldier Field this season? VIP official ticket packages now available for every home game. Unlock access to exclusive ticket packages that may include entry to in-stadium hospitality lounges, pregame sideline credentials, and the Chicago City Pass. Visit ChicagoBearsVIP.com or call 866-202-5755 for more information. Again, that's ChicagoBearsVIP.com or call 866-202-5755. 5755. Don't miss this exclusive opportunity with Chicago Bears VIP. Jeff and Tom and Kevin Byard, the third Bears starting safety, getting ready for the Patriots, going to do so without Big Bill. Yeah. Andrew Billings, man, just talked to Ryan Poles the other way. I said, who's the underrated hero on that defense? And he laughed at the time and said, yeah, it's Andrew Billings. Mm-hmm. I mean, what's that going to mean to that defense? Because he was so valuable in so many different ways.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be tough to replace a guy like Bill. Like you said, an underrated hero on the defense, a guy that, takes up a lot of space down there. It helps out a lot in our run defense. So it's definitely going to take a group effort. But obviously wishing for a speedy recovery, and I think he's having surgery or something like that. So hopefully he's back as soon as possible.
Are you surprised at the support of the Bears crowd on the road?
Yeah and no, because obviously I know how passionate Bears fans are, but to see it in person is pretty incredible. Like when we went over to London, that was incredible to see how good they traveled. And honestly, when we was in Arizona, I mean, it honestly felt like a home game. Washington felt like a home game. So it was very impressive, but I'm not really surprised because I just know how passionate Bears fans are.
Because it kind of leads me to that question. So you got Billings is out of the lineup. He kind of makes a couple of calls on the defensive line. Sometimes he gets the offensive line to jump off the line of scrimmage. So when you're at home and you have a supportive crowd and you can't really hear a lot and you got to communicate back there, or you're on the road and you can hear everything and you can verbally communicate, do you have a preference of whether you can hear on the road and not hear at home?
I always prefer to be at home because just you feed off, especially playing defense, you feed off the energy of the crowd. Obviously, like I said, Bears fans are very passionate. His defense is passionate, and we feed off the crowd, honestly. And what's funny? You talk about Bill, and he does this move call that makes the offensive line jump. Yep. They actually that was pretty good. That was really good. The NFL had changed the rule this year, like on, because a lot of times that move call was implemented, like, for example, when an offense is trying to spike the ball or something like that, sometimes defense just line up and they don't move. So as soon as they're about to, like, try to spike the ball, Bill will say a move call, and it'll make them jump, and then they get a false start or in a 10-second runoff or something like that. They told the NFL sent the film in early in the season and said we cannot do that no more.
Well, back in the day,
which is so weird. It's crazy.
The linebackers used to make that call.
You're right.
They would make the move call, and so it was a little bit removed from the line of scrimmage. When it's right on top of you, because I was watching throughout training camp that Big Bill was giving the Bears
They jumped at least once or twice every day.
Every day.
Every day.
Every
once
day.
Or twice every day.
And as an ex-offensive lineman, I was just going, God, they got to start just honing in on Caleb's voice because Caleb is also trying to learn a volume cadence from what they do in college nowadays.
Right. It's so funny. So when Coach Flus announced that in the team meeting room, like the whole offensive line like applauded. It was hilarious because they knew it was like everybody's looking at Bill and they was just applaud. They were so happy about it.
But you can still shift. You just can't yell.
Yeah, well, you just can't shift on that particular play. You can do it like on a regular first and second down, but if an offense is trying to clock the ball, you can't shift. And that's like, I don't know. It's already hard enough to play defense. You can't take more stuff away from us. I don't understand.
Brother, you've been in here as long as anybody, right?
It's crazy.
They keep tweaking it. Keep tweaking it, trying to – but, point totals are down. Rushing yards are way up. All of a sudden, again, now, hey, maybe you need a running back, right?
Exactly.
You got to pay a running back. Chuba
100%.
Hubbard just got paid today.
I seen that.
Bears invest DeAndre Swift. So the league, it doesn't mean it's going to stay one way forever.
Exactly.
It keeps on evolving, but it never, nothing new's coming, right? Every play has been described and called different things
100%.
Since the history of the game, but I think it goes into different stages. But, health of quarterback is probably the one thing that they're always going to emphasize and reemphasize.
Yeah, obviously they are the investment.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like they make the most money for a reason. It's the hardest position to play. So they're always going to protect their health because at the end of the day, when you have great quarterback play, the league is in a better place.
All right, Kevin, I got to ask you, the hurdle. So we saw what Saquon Barkley did this week. One of the most impressive moves, because, listen, we came from a division that Barry Sanders we got to see him twice a year, an amazing guy. But that move by Saquon was as an amazing move as I've ever seen. But now let's talk about the defensive back. What are you doing? How do you miss him?
It's that hurdle was one of the most impressive things I've seen on the football field. Number one, I've actually, I'm not proud of this, I've been hurdled before. My second year, I got hurdled by Todd Gurley, and honestly, it was so surprising that I honestly didn't even know what to do. Like I was going in for the tackle, and it wasn't like I was going low. I was actually going to make a pretty good head up, wrap up tackle. And he literally just jumped over me, and it was just like he jumped, and I just tried to lunge up or whatever, and he just cleared me.
Well, even DeAndre last week, he had a hurdle. That was a play right up the middle, safety.
He's hurdled like 2 or 3 guys this year already.
Right.
And it's funny because, like you said, a guy like Swift, he's not the biggest guy, not the tallest guy, but he has impressive ups. That's very surprising.
Explosive.
And I guess they're usually anticipating guys going low. But this guy just jumps over people, just clears them very
How
easy.
was that addressed in the meeting the next day in front of either your position coach or the defensive coordinator?
Well, I mean, first thing was like, pick your head up. What are you doing? It was it was something that was like, all right, coach, we can skip this play. Fast forward this one, please.
Kevin Byard III, our guest. I'm going to blow him up a little more here because one thing you appreciate about NFL players who never miss a game, which you don't. You don't miss practice. Your whole career, you're on a streak of consecutive games played. 130th start will be on Sunday. So congratulations.
Well,
that's not just luck either.
No. Yeah,
that is how you prepare.
It's the red light therapy.
Yeah, it's the red light therapy. And but you have accumulated over 1,000 tackles in your NFL and college career together. Do you feel that at this age, over 1,000 tackles?
Yes and no. I definitely feel it, but at the same time, like, honestly, I feel like as I mature, I won't say as I mature, I actually feel better, like, during this time of the year. Usually when I was younger, around this time of the year, your body's beat up and things like that. But because, like you said, when you felt invincible and things like that, but now I do so much recovery that my body actually bounced back pretty quick. You know, like I said, I think I can, you know, I want to play as long as possible, so I'm doing everything I possibly can. But, you know, you get to those points where, you know, on Monday and Tuesday, and you're like, man.
Feel like you've been in a car wreck.
Especially during training camp. You're like, man, how many more years can I do this? And then, you get to the end of the season, it's like, man, I can keep doing this. I feel good.
You and Budda Baker, top 2 defensive backs and tackles, and he's a heck of a player,
yeah,
too.
Heck of a player.
Like yourself, man.
Heck of a player.
Is
Respect him a lot.
Yeah.
Are you glad Soldier Field has natural grass, a nice surface? Me, I'm a natural grass guy. I'm not a big fan of turfs.
I'm a grass guy all the way, 100%. I've never enjoyed playing on turf. I don't even like practicing on turf.
Right.
Anytime that it gets colder or rain and we got to go in the bubble, I'm like, can we try to stay outside? It just doesn't do well for your body, you know, especially that like I said, that Monday and Tuesday, like your body's extra sore. And for me, it's usually like joints. You know what I'm saying? Like my ankle joints are really stiff and really sore. Some guys, their knees and things like that. So I hate turf.
Right. And, you know, the whole where was I going with this? Because I was thinking about your career and your playing and, you know, the natural surface and everything, and that the weather conditions that the Bears have played in up until this point, it's been pretty darn favorable where you can get out to practice every day. I think the only rain day may have been the Cincinnati practice.
Yeah,
back
exactly.
In training camp.
Rained the whole time, too.
Yeah, and I mean, that's got to be pretty awesome to go out there and feel pretty good being on the natural surface and not having to go into the sports turf.
Yeah, absolutely. It's funny because when you're a younger player, like in high school or college, like you'd like to be on turf. I feel fast. I run fast on the turf. But as you get older, and it becomes a job, and you do this every single day. It's like, if I can save my legs a little bit, I'd rather be on grass.
Do you remember your first NFL sack, and who was it?
Aaron Rodgers.
Yes.
Yeah, rookie year.
Man,
I remember
a round of applause. Yes.
I never forget the first one. Never forget your first
Aaron
one.
Rodgers. He was also a top 100 player, number 34 in 2022. And you also caught a touchdown pass. Please tell us about that.
So no, I didn't.
No, you threw it.
I threw a touchdown.
Threw it.
So this was a special teams play. So for most guys don't know, I was a special teams, a PP punt team,
which is punt protector.
Yeah, punt protector. For 4 or 5 years. So I remember it was 1 year we was playing Houston, and so the week before we played Miami, and they gave us this certain look where they brought everybody in and they left the gunners uncovered. And at this time, we really didn't have nothing forward, so we just punted the ball. I brought the gunners in, we protected and kicked the ball. So we watching film the next week with the coach, and I'm just like, he was like, hey, if you get this look, like we got this little fake that we got in that you might, we called it green. It's like if I tell the snapper, hey, green, and he snap the ball at me, I'm gonna throw the ball. So we playing Houston, and surprisingly, they give us the same look. And so it's one of those deals, like the coach told me on the sideline, hey, if we get this look, it's a go. And, you know what I'm saying? You got the green light. So I line up and I see him out there, and literally, like, my heart started beating extremely fast. I'm thinking, like, in my head, like, just please don't drop the ball. That's the first thing I'm thinking, like, because I don't know how the ball's gonna come out. And, like, say, snap the ball and threw it out there. I just had to lob it up. I just think about it. Just don't overthrow him. Don't underthrow him. Just lob it up there. And my guy, Dane Cruikshank, who actually was here for a year.
He was, yes.
Threw him a touchdown.
66-yarder. Longest
66.
by a non-position skilled player in NFL history. Did you know that?
No, I did not know that.
Yeah.
And
you're in the record books.
It's crazy. And I'm proud to say that I have a better passer rating than Caleb Williams. I have a perfect passer rating, so we're going to keep that.
Yeah, keep it right where it is. We're going to take another break. One more segment to go with Kevin Byard, our guest tonight on Bears Weekly on ESPN 1000 and the Bears Radio Network.
Welcome back to Bears Weekly on the Bears Radio Network. Here's your host, the voice of the Bears, Jeff Joniak.
Have a new or gently used coat laying around? Well, head to your local Jewel Osco until February 10th and donate one of your new or gently used coats to the 36th annual Chicago Bears Coat Drive and help keep Chicagoans warm this winter. Jeff Joniak, Tom Thayer, and Kevin Byard III, our guests. About 5 minutes left before Kevin heads home after a long day to go see his family and get some dinner or something like that.
You know what he's going to do when he goes home?
Sleep.
No, he's going to go and YouTube the Super Bowl Shuffle video.
Oh,
yeah, I have to.
You've never seen it.
I feel like I have seen it, but for
There's
some
no way you
reason,
didn't. Yeah.
it's just not,
You would know if you did. So, I mean, it's just a little bit of Bear history and stuff.
Tom's not in it, though.
No, God, no. The best thing I ever...
Tell him what happened, if he doesn't know how that all came about.
Yeah, tell me how it came
So,
about.
in the Super Bowl year, we only got beat one game, and that was Miami on Monday Night Football. So, on the way home, Willie Gault was walking down the aisle of the airplane because we only had one aisle. It was a small plane. And he was trying to get everybody to show up at the Park West Theater the next morning after we're coming home from a Monday night game. Wow. So we're going to get home at 2, 3 o'clock in the morning.
Exactly.
And he's trying to rally everybody to show up at the Park West Theater because they're going to make a Super Bowl shuffle.
Okay.
And so he gets a bunch of guys to go to Park West, and they suit him up in their uniform with instruments and everything. And then they did the chorus to the Super Bowl Shuffle, where the headliners, like Otis Wilson and Willie Gault and Fridge Perry and McMahon and stuff, they did theirs individually.
Wow.
But for him to rally everybody after the only game that we lost, and how angry Dicka would have been if he would have found out they were making a Super Bowl shuffle.
But just think about that.
That's hilarious.
That's probably a good month before the Super Bowl, and they believed in themselves that much that they made a video about going to the Super Bowl and winning it.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, it is.
That's what I'm going to do when I get in my car. I'm going to YouTube it.
There you go. All right, so you've had a couple of games in your career against the New England Patriots in the Tom Brady era and beyond, but they roll into Soldier Field. What should we be looking for? Because another young quarterback staring at you in Drake May.
Well, I look forward for a good game. Definitely look forward to seeing the Bears fans. Like you said, it feels like it's been forever us being on the road. It's going to be a competitive game. At the end of the day, it's the NFL. But we definitely need to get off this 2-game skid that we're on right now. So definitely going to be looking at a motivated, a very eager team to go out there and try to get this bad taste out of our mouth and try to go out there, fly around, make some plays, get some turnovers, takeaways.
Takeaways.
Yeah. One thing I like about the Bears is the number of defensive linemen that you can play. Mm-hmm. And, you keep a fresh group of guys in there against a young quarterback like Drake May and kind of maybe increase his thinking at the line of scrimmage.
Right.
That's a great opportunity for you guys to take advantage of and have another one of those beautiful interceptions that you had in Carolina.
Yeah, anytime you're facing a young rookie quarterback, the first thing you want to do is just make them feel uncomfortable. Make them feel uncomfortable. Let those big guys get after the quarterback. But to do that, we got to stop the run first. Those guys are going to try to run the ball. They got a really good running back in Ramondre Stevenson. We got to stop their run, make the quarterback feel uncomfortable, and on the back end, let's try to disguise, make the rookie quarterback think once or twice before he makes that throw, and hopefully we'll bait him into a mistake.
I know I asked you this. Do you like listening to the rhythm of a cadence of a young quarterback? Because sometimes they can become consistent with saying the same thing and having the same tempo and maybe giving your defensive line a little bit of a jump.
100%. And I'm always big on watching the film. When I watch film, I like to watch the TV copies of the game, especially when they're on the road.
Right.
Because, a lot of times, sometimes they have different cadences. For example, like the guard may tap the center, and that'll let them know that the quarterback is ready. Some quarterbacks kick their leg up or something like that. So I like to do that because that means I can hold my disguise. So I like to try to hold it at the last minute. Then once the quarterback looks for the ball, he looks back up, it's a whole different picture.
Correct.
So I love to watch that.
Real quick, and then we'll let you go. That is something that defies my good sense because it gives you, as a defense, the knowledge that you need to get a quick start off the ball.
Exactly.
Right? I mean, I don't know. I mean, I guess it's necessary to get everybody on the same page, but that's a new wave thing going on.
No, 100%. Like I said, I think the defensive linemen, they watch for different things, but for me, I'm always watching that quarterback, especially on third downs. Because on third downs, a lot of quarterbacks like to take all the play clock down to see what the defense is going to do. So I just sit there and just act like I don't know what I'm doing. I'm looking around and stuff. But I'm looking at the clock because a lot of times certain quarterbacks wait till 5 seconds. Aaron Rodgers did take it all the way down to 2 or 3 seconds because he's waiting for the defense to show their hand. So I just try to hold my poker.
It is like an Etch-a-Sketch for those old enough to know what an Etch-a-Sketch is, right? That you draw something, and at the snap, it's gone.
So
quarterback, you change the picture. All right, well, thank you so much for being here. I know you had a busy day and a busy week, so go get those Patriots. We'll see you at Soldier Field. Thank you so much.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me.
Kevin Byard III, our guest here at Hallasaw at PNC Studios. He needs to get his butt home and enjoy some relaxation time with his family. Anyway, as we're talking about it while he leaves, is they do have Ramondre Stevenson. They've got a young quarterback. They've got a cachet of receivers. I would say no stars, but guys you're not going to fall asleep on, like Kendrick Bourne. He's been okay here in the past couple weeks. But they've got tight ends, veteran tight ends, which Kevin will be keeping an eye on. Guys like Hooper and guys like Hunter Henry.
Yeah, and they got a new head coach. That, whenever you have a new head coach and you talk about all those young pieces in place and some experienced players, you still have the pressure of a young coach that's not going anywhere. I mean, he's not a one-and-done guy. He's going to be around here for a little while, and so he's going to have a chance to hold these guys up to what he believes their responsibilities are, offense, defense, special teams. So I think it's something you always got to be concerned about because being a strict, young, defensive-minded head coach, that's what's going to face Caleb this weekend. And then when you talk about a young quarterback for the New England Patriots, listen, man, he's coming into a hostile environment with a really good pass-rushing defensive line. And so I expect the Bears' defense to shine this week, and I expect Caleb to get back on track and show what the improvements he's been making throughout the whole season.
It's crazy, but they got used to winning out there, obviously. New England won a lot. So, there's already questions about his future as the head coach, which I find odd at a minimum and ridiculous at a maximum because give a guy a chance to their roster is depleted. It's not a star-studded roster anymore. Right.
Their offensive line isn't very good. And so what are you going to do? You're going to take a coach and remove him after a year and then bring in another coach, another system that a young quarterback's going to have to learn, and then it's going to slow him down even more. Right. It's not the perfect case. But I happen to be cheering for the Bears, and I want to see the best effort possibly put forth come Sunday. Conditions are going to be perfect, and I want to see the Bears get back on track like they were a couple weeks ago.
Defensively, what are you seeing on tape from New England? They've had a hard time as well stopping the run, and Keon White's probably their best pass rusher, a second-year guy out of Georgia Tech. And then Christian Gonzalez on the back end. He's a matchup guy, so they'll probably put him on whomever they feel is the weapon that can most hurt them offensively from a Bears perspective, because that's what they used to do under Belichick, and they're continuing that kind of defense right now.
And their style of defense is predicated on the experience of the quarterback. If they feel that there's a young quarterback that's still going through the process of learning terminology in an NFL systems, then they're going to attack you accordingly by trying to have the most disruptive defensive front that is almost unidentifiable at times. And so that's what the Bears did, or the New England did throughout the whole Belichick regime, and that's what they're going to be doing during the Mayo regime as well. And so the Bears' offensive line, they're going to have the ability to communicate up front. The crowd is going to be helpful and be quiet so the Bears can have that type of communication. And then, you're just going to have to see the weapons deployed accordingly.
I'm excited to see Montez Sweat back.
Me too.
Getting him back after missing one game with a shin injury, that just changes the whole mindset of the offensive line they're dealing with and how they got to figure out, okay, are we going to double this guy and deal with somebody else? Because and I think the opportunity is there now as well with Billings out for Chris Williams, for example. Yeah. He's really been impressive in his minimal snaps that he's getting in that rotation. Zach Pickens has got nothing but runway here, nothing but runway to really start to become who he wants to become. He was thrilled that he got the snaps he did last week. I did talk to him after the game. Despite the loss, he was excited to be back, and he just knows he's got an opportunity here.
And so does Gervon Dexter Sr., because he's got the versatility, the length, and the strength that he can move up and down the line of scrimmage. So if you want to change a guy like Billings, who is 6'2.5", 330 pounds, just a ball of strength, and now you're going to put a little bit of length on the center with a guy like Gervon Dexter Sr., there's a lot of things that he can do that these centers aren't ready for yet. It's about making sure that you get contact on an offensive lineman before he gets contact to a defensive lineman. Zach Pickens got fast twitch muscles, and he has the ability to get off the ball. Chris Williams, DeMarcus Walker, every one of these guys
Coward.
Coward, but he's more of an inside guy. So every one of these guys have a little bit different of a trait that you're not just going to be able to zero in on one style of defense or defensive lineman template because everybody's a little different.
Heck, Dominique Robinson had a snap at defensive tackle or two. So,
well, any one of these guys are capable of moving inside there. So is Montez Sweat. Mm-hmm. And if you want to run some stunts and stuff with the defensive line using him on the inside, he's every bit capable of that.
All right, we're going to take our last break here from Halisaw, PNC Studios, in front of a live audience. This is Bears Weekly on ESPN 1000 on the Bears Radio Network.
This is Bears Weekly with the voice of the Bears for 24 years, Jeff Joniak on the Bears Radio Network.
This segment of Bears Weekly brought to you by Athletico Physical Therapy. Visit athletico.com to request an in-clinic or virtual appointment to start feeling better tomorrow. Jeff Joniak, Tom Thayer here with NWR active duty members from Great Lakes and the folks from Magellan. Appreciate it. Hope you guys have enjoyed it. They're about to dive in. Tom made dinner tonight. Tom made dinner. You've been working all day.
Listen, that's not true. I don't want to insult the people behind the scenes that are in the kitchen.
They do a great job.
Incredible job here.
But you could make dinner if you so chose.
Well, I did walk down the line and just see what they were going to be offered tonight. And I know that mac and cheese is one of your favorites.
I'm not allowed to eat it anymore.
And it's there.
Yeah.
So
all right, let's talk about the Bears and Patriots. Offensive line concerns for the Bears. More injuries. Darnell Wright. Not sure what his status will be, but that's a big injury as well. Don't know. Braxton Jones limited today, so your two tackles and the changes have been numerous, not only this year but during the time of Matt Eberflus. Injuries have flared up.
Yeah, but he always talks about the cross-training that Chris Morgan, the offensive line coach, does throughout training camp and OTAs. In all these guys, it's not going to be new to them to whatever position they play. So get out there and play your best. This is why you're on an NFL roster. This is why you're active on game day. This is why that you're given a jersey that's hanging in your locker, is we have expectations for you to go out and perform as well as anybody else. And you're at home. You're going to hear the verbal commands from Caleb. You're going to be able to be more aggressive because you're going to be the one in charge of first contact. So I don't expect anything less from the performance of the offense or the offensive line because of the injuries. I expect them to perform at the level.
When you think about it, it's so Karana Magaji moved into that like the third tackle, and he's out with a calf injury. Right. So you're going pretty deep now on the tackle depth chart.
Right, but if you go and you look at their resume, every one of them have played the position that they're going to play. In Ryan Bates coming back aboard after coming back from his injury, he's got versatility where he can kind of fill in anywhere the middle three. And Matt Pryor, who's been just a model citizen on the offensive line, being able to play anywhere that's asked of him, and he's super fortunate to have that type of versatility.
And the secondary depth is showing. So Amir Speed, he got into a game a couple weeks ago. He's come on the active roster. Jalen Jones went down with a shoulder injury, so he's on IR. We saw Reddy Stewart, one of our favorites in rookie minicamp and leading into training camp, got an impact play last week, blitzed, blew through the running back trying to pass protect, couldn't do it. He really put some pressure on the quarterback. So it could be counted on for this one.
Yeah, you know, the over the last couple of years, every single time that there's been any type of injury in the defensive backfield, the coaches have had every one of these guys mentally and physically prepared for the position they're going to play. And I have the same expectations for that position as I do the O-line.
And Elijah Hicks has done a terrific job.
Yes, he has.
Unfortunately, Brisker, again, not practicing, so we don't know what his status is after that concussion now some 4 weeks ago. So Elijah Hicks, though, has proven he's been paying attention and developing and really absorbing this defense because he's done a nice job.
Well, that's what Kevin Byard has mentioned, that these guys put a lot into the paying attention to the details that they have.
All right, that's going to wrap us up here. Thanks to all our guests and our producers, Dan Barilli, Paul Zaranger, engineer, and the folks in ESPN 1000 to help us out tonight. This has been Bears Weekly. Thank you, Kevin Byard. Bears Patriots noon on Sunday. We'll talk to you on the radio on the Bears Radio Network. Good night, everybody. Bleck and Abdallah are next.